I am hungry.
As a holistic nutritionist and herbalist, breakfast is a non-negotiable. It truly primes our bodies with so many nutrients and vitamins to take us throughout the rest of our day. Many of these ingredients are local and or sourced directly on my land, which feels incredibly nourishing to be able to fortify my body with them.
I'm going to finish eating breakfast and then I'm going to get all bundled up and go out on a walk in the rain, and hopefully the sun will peek out because that will make my entire day.
I wandered for quite a while on this walk. I had some thoughts I needed to sort through, and I was blessed with the most vibrant of rainbows ever. I took that as a sign to decompose all of those thoughts alongside the crunchy leaves I was walking upon, and I felt lighter almost immediately. Sometimes I catch myself getting lost in the dramas that I play out in my mind, all of the stories that I tell myself of unworthiness, or all of the unrealistic expectations I endlessly set for myself. I decided to sit for a while and just be with these thoughts, to journal them and make sense of why they are so ever present in my mind.
It has been a while since I have felt whole enough to sit in front of the camera, and just as I'm saying that, I'm feeling a little bit disappointed in myself for not showing up exactly as I am in the rough moments. But regardless, these past few months have been really taxing energetically, spiritually, emotionally, and I didn't have a lot of extra energy to expend into crafting videos and pouring myself into my work. And so I took a little bit of a pause, and it's felt really good to just have some extra time to sit with myself and to live my life without needing to capture every single moment and tell a story about what I'm experiencing before I have fully experienced it for myself. And so these last few months, I've really just been trying to pick up the pieces of things that felt like they were falling apart in my life. I have always been a very big go-getter, and I really poured myself into my work and my studies and who I thought I wanted to become for a really long time. And when that version of myself started to appear, I realized that I was chasing something that I didn't necessarily want to embody. And so I decided to put a pause on my graduate program for Chinese medicine. And I ended up leaving school after a big shift with just sitting with my therapist and having a lot of dreams, as silly as that sounds and as woo-woo as that sounds, having a lot of dreams of my ancestors just coming to me and just pointing me back in the direction of food and herbs as medicine. And that has been a truth for me since I was a little girl. And I've just been reminded of how important it is to re-embody those parts of ourselves that we still feel as a true version of who we are and a truth that we hold dear to our hearts, but we don't necessarily always spend the time to get to know deeper. And I felt like I was always chasing this next thing, chasing the next big accomplishment. I put a lot of my self-worth into achievements and academics and learning and being knowledgeable and holding wisdom, and I think that's all very valuable, and yet I was chasing a degree in a field that I wasn't necessarily super excited about. And so these last few months have been me trying to figure out what excites me, and it always boils back down to art and words and poetry and herbs as medicine and food as medicine. And so I ended up making the decision just to leave school for now and regroup and feel how I'm feeling, pour myself back into my endeavors. And with that has come a lot of shedding relationships and people and places and things and ideals and stories that maybe are not aligning with who I am anymore. And that has been a journey, to say the least, but I'm finally feeling like I'm coming out the other end and feeling a little bit more whole, even though there are definitely still pieces I need to pick up along the way. And throughout these past few months, with a lot of change happening, I have been struggling again with OCD and anxiety and body image issues and food issues that are popping back up from my past of battling with my eating disorder and OCD. And I'm just being reminded of how easy it is to fall back into past patterns that you worked so hard to rid yourself of. And I'm trying to be gentle and loving towards myself, and yet also I'm holding space for the part of me that feels really frustrated with my tendency to just lean back on these patterns, even though I have crafted so many tools and I have met myself in so many new ways. So that is what I've been battling with, and I wanted to kind of just take you guys along with me in the journey of meeting my growing edges, even when it feels like I'm regressing and taking a million steps back. I think that health and mental health is a continual journey. And when your brain and your mind isn't in its best place, it feels like my body is also not in its best place. And so I've also been dealing with wanting to shrink again, shrink myself mentally, shrink myself physically, and using food as a way to do that, controlling myself and my thoughts and numbing my body by using food as a way to do so. And as we enter into the holidays, it gets extra loud because there's a lot of other things that I can't control. And so I'm just trying to be gentle and nice to myself along the way. And yeah, I'm just going to share with you guys how I nourish my body and take care of myself in all facets of my being. Recently, I have been breaking out with perioral dermatitis around my mouth, which is a really new thing for me. So that's been fun. It's definitely stress induced, but yeah, it's just been a journey to feel like a foreigner in my own skin. And I've been battling with really intense panic attacks, which I think is also contributing to the issues. And so I am finding new tools, and I'm going to take you guys along with me as I figure out what's going on internally. And yeah, I think it's important to show every version of myself on here because social media is very polished and it can be very performative, but I want to show the real, show the nitty-gritty, show the messy, and show the chaos as I learn who I am as somebody who is still in their early 20s. So come along with me as I nourish my body today.
What's the angle? I'm not playing that game. It's the same business with a different name.
When the acts of self-love become habitual, that is when you know you are healing. One of my favorite habits that I love to offer myself and offer my mind is journaling. So I carry my journal around with me no matter where I'm at, no matter what I'm doing. I have a journal with me, and it just acts as a place to put my thoughts so that they aren't as loud, they aren't as overtaking, because once I get them out, I can see them clearly and I can challenge any of the intrusive thoughts, because those thoughts tend to be the ones that are the loudest. And once I get those out, I can hear myself underneath, and that truly is the best medicine.
Who's the target? Sorry, I'm not in the market. If I quit buying, you can't sell me anything. No thanks.
It feels very fitting that it's fall right now. There are a lot of leaves falling to the ground, and I like to alchemize my thoughts and my feelings and what's going on internally with the world around me, and fall just feels like a really perfect opportunity to shed and let go of people and relationships and memories and storylines that maybe are not in my best interest anymore, and know that I can just release them to the earth to hold even in the midst of the chaos and the falling, because it's necessary and it's beautiful, and as cliche as it sounds, it does fertilize the soils of our beings to create new life.
I'll pass. I don't want any of that. I'll just take my chances. No thanks. Not that.
It is fall up here in the mountains, and I am out on a medicinal plant walk, and I thought it would be fun to take you guys along with me and show you all of the gifts that I gather from the land during this time of year, because everything has already come to fruit and fallen to the earth, but there are still gifts to gather, there are still roots to harvest, and there is still so much medicine upon the trees and upon the land, and each season holds so many offerings. So come along and gather some gifts with me. One of my favorite things to do is to gather seeds from the wildflowers of spring that have now naked little seed pods that you can distribute upon the land, and play my part in giving back to the earth by distributing her seeds to help with the pollinators and just to help with overall biodiversity on the land. So that is what I'm going to be doing right now. I gathered some seed pods and I'm just crushing them, and as I walk I'm just going to mindlessly but mindfully disperse her seeds upon the land.
As I was walking, I stumbled upon some of the last rose hips of the season, one of my favorite herbs to forage because it is so incredibly medicinal for our bodies. Rosehip is one of nature's highest sources of vitamin C, which I love to fortify my body with during the colder months.
This is usnea, and usnea is a very cleansing herb. It's wonderful for urinary tract infections, also known as UTIs, and it is also really wonderful for any colds or flus because it's antibacterial and antimicrobial. I love to use it during the winter months. It's definitely a beautiful herb to utilize because it grows in a lot of places, especially in the winter time. I wanted to show you guys horsetail. I don't forage it right now because it is fall and it is super tough and fibrous. I harvest it in the springtime when it is super bushy and abundant, and that is because it is high in silica, and I love to use it for hair growth. It is one of my favorite herbs to take internally to fortify my body and give it the building blocks it needs to create healthy hair. This is white willow or herbal aspirin, and it is one of my favorite herbs for fighting off headaches, easing painful periods, and basically alleviating any pain or inflammation in the body. This is because it contains salicin, or what was originally used to derive salicylic acid, and that helps to fight off pain and inflammation and ease any cramping or headaches or anything like that in the body. I also love to use it to make a homemade herbal toner for my skin because salicylic acid is also used in skincare to fight off acne. I found some dandelion root. I love to harvest the roots in the fall because all of the sugars have accumulated within them after a season of flowering and having these beautiful leaves capture all of that sunlight. I love dandelion root for liver detoxification because it is a bitter herb, it supports draining, and it really supports our hormone health as a result. It's also wonderful for the digestive system for easing any bloating or constipation. Okay, that's it for medicinal plants today. I'm gonna go home and process all of the goodies that I found and just have a nice relaxing evening. I bet that's sweet for them to be able to spend some more time together. I know she spends so much with you, like. Oh, I got home and I made myself a nice warm cup of tea. I woke up feeling anxious today and I couldn't shake that feeling, and it was really challenging for me to get myself out of the house and out of my little bubble, but I really pushed myself to go to pottery, and I came home and rewarded myself with some nice alone time and some self-care. So the tea that I made is Tulsi and Sweet Rose, which feels like a nice warm hug for my nervous system. Tulsi is an adaptogen, which really helps with our nervous system and calming our mind. It helps with GABA production to help us feel calm and cool. And then the rose is really heart opening, and it also helps to calm and regulate the nervous system. So that is what I'm sipping on, and it's very sweet. I added some licorice root in it, and licorice root is a very harmonizing herb for hormones, but also for muscle tension. And so I hold a lot of my anxiety in my shoulders and my neck and my jaw. So that is what I'm sipping on. And then I also have, lo and behold, another bowl of popcorn. I'm definitely in luteal phase, which is definitely attributing to my nerves and my, whenever I swing into luteal phase, my body feels the adjustment, and it's definitely a spike in cortisol, which I'm working on regulating. But either way, the warmth just feels really comforting, and the change in temperature of my hands feels very regulating, and I feel back in my body. So that feels really good. And then I also have this Anxious Moment spray from Herb Farm, which is one of my favorite herb brands. I love them, and I've actually been working with them one-on-one and seeing the behind the scenes of their farm and everything, which just makes me love them even more. So their formulations are really beautiful. This has kava and lemon balm, lavender, and also licorice root, which I already said is really, really helpful for tension, and I love it. I'm going to be doing a little bit of a hair mask, and then I'm gonna take a bath. My hair oil is from Hinu and Smell. It's just an opportunity and an invitation to breathe deeply, which I love, and it smells like a luxurious spa moment. It smells like the forest mixed with calm. I don't know how else to explain it, but it's a really beautiful oil, and it definitely has helped my scalp health so much. My hair growth has been insane since I started using this. So I just use about 1 dropper full on my scalp, and then I massage it in and I let it sit overnight, but tonight I'm probably gonna wash my hair. So I usually give it about 2 hours at least to absorb into my scalp. And I have a little jade tool that I like to massage, or I use my wooden brush to massage my scalp, which is really regulating as well. Scalp massages help relieve so much tension. And then I just spend time breathing in the aromas of the oil. There are so many acupressure points on our scalp that help to regulate the nervous system. Some of my favorite ones are in my ear, but upon my scalp, I love to go to Do 20, which is right where you can feel a little divot in your skull, kind of where you have that big part on the back of your head, and that's Do 20. And it helps kind of just reset the body back to its original game plan, its original instruction manual. Reminding us that we're just humans upon the earth, and all of the dramas we can choose to either take part in, or we can choose to watch them drift by. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm gonna choose to watch all the dramas in my mind pass by while I eat my popcorn and stare at the candlelight. I came home really hungry, and it's almost dinner time, and I almost let myself not eat because I was just playing this narrative of, well, dinner's soon and you don't want to eat too close to dinner. There's X amount of hours and you don't need to eat it. And I was just like, wow, the loud eating disorder thoughts have such a strong tendency to rear their ugly head when I'm already feeling a little bit more self-conscious in my body or a little bit less confident in my skin. And immediately I said, okay, I can either allow this drama to play out, or I can listen to the urge of my animalistic body who needs fuel and energy to feel okay, and give her that fuel so then that moment can pass and I don't have to be put into fight or flight because my body doesn't have enough energy and it feels like it needs to go and find fuel. So I'm regulating and I'm fighting those thoughts. And yeah, this is just a reminder that even the people you look up to online still struggle, and a lot of the times the reason they're sharing the things that they share is because they've gone through something really big, and we're all human and we all have the capacity to grow, and we're all growing. And I'm only 23. I'm almost 24, but I'm still so young and I still have so much learning and growing to do, and I'm just holding myself gently throughout it all.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Emma Robles. Happy birthday to you.